Hello, welcome to the Vintage Motorist. Today we're going to be having a look at two popular toy boats of the early 1930s. So as a young child back in the 1930s, you'd be quite excited to pick up the latest copy of this, which is the Meccano magazine. Now, Meccano are very well known as a company for producing lots of mechanical toys, from model railways to construction sets and even model boats. So if you purchase this magazine, it has lots of interesting facts in here, but it also has adverts of things that you can purchase, new products that the Meccano company has come out with. And if we flick through here to the right page, just down here on page 136, I should say this magazine's from February 1933. Anyway, down the bottom of the page here, you can see we have the Hornby speedboat. So Hornby are very well known for their model railways, but not so much so for their boats. But yes, they did produce boats, as can be seen here. And this advert shows the very first boat that they produced, which was called Hornby. They came out in 1932. And so this magazine's early 1933. The price would be 12 and 6 for one of these boats. And they were clockwork operated, so they used the very successful clockwork mechanism that was found in a lot of their model railways. That will be another video I shall be doing at a later point. So we're going to be looking at two different boats today. This one is the Clockwork Hornby Condor. So this came out in 1933, which is the same year as the Meccano magazine that I showed you. So the key goes in the top, and then you have this little swivelly bit there that you can close to stop the water going in while it's out in the waves. So to access the clockwork motor, you can remove this panel, and inside there you can see we have our clockwork motor, which is based on the very successful Hornby Railways clockwork motors. This little lever just here, that's to make it start and stop, so that stops it spinning around. You've got your propeller on the back end here, and then you've also got your rudder there, so you can steer it wherever you want to go. Of course, this was made in the time before radio control, so you have to be a little bit careful that it doesn't get away from you. Apparently this can run about 500 feet, so that's quite impressive really. So yeah, this boat, when I got it, it didn't look in too bad condition, but on further inspection it had a lot of rust in it, which can be seen from these various photographs. So I was a bit torn what to do with this boat, because it was a bit of a challenge. To be able to repair it would mean a lot of work, and to keep it light enough as well so that it would actually float. Was it going to be doable? Anyway, it took a few attempts, but in the end we have got there, and today will be its maiden voyage, although I have tried it in a tub of water, so I do know that it floats. But the question is, will it go along? As I say, trying to get this to balance so that it would float properly, and to make it strong enough as well, was a real challenge. But I'm very pleased with how it looks, so if it runs as well as it looks, we should be onto a good thing. This has a really nice profile to the hull of this. It's all made of tin, all tin plate, the whole thing is metal. And the problem with these Hornby boats is they rusted from the inside out. So it's got two bulkheads, one runs here, one runs there. So these are effectively sealed tanks each end, and you get moisture in there, condensation, all sorts, so they tended to rust, as I say, from the inside out. So it might look all right on the surface, but underneath it was a different story. So I actually had to take this boat completely to bits. The whole thing was soldered together, so I had to heat the whole thing up to get it apart. I wasn't too worried because the paint wasn't original anyway. Somebody else had had a go at it in the past and put a lot of filler in it, but it hadn't been done particularly well. So the only way to do a proper job was to take the whole thing to bits, take it all apart, desolder it, and repair all the holes as best as I could, and paint it all back up, put it all together. And yeah, so I'm pleased with the result. So we shall see whether it actually goes. Oh, it's very exciting. So the other boat we're going to be looking at today is the one that is in this box. Still got the original box, and if you have a look on the end here, you can see it's the boat Swallow, made by the company of Bowman. They would produce boats up in Norfolk. Now, Bowman produced various different models, model steam engines. They started around about 1923. 1926 they produced boats, very successful as well. Now the boat in here, Swallow, was one of the smallest boats in their range. It came out around 1930, and if we take it out the box, so here we are. This is the Bowman speedboat Swallow. The hull of this boat is made of wood, and then we have our steam engine here. It's got this nice little boiler and little oscillating single cylinder engine in there. This at the front here, the wing guard, just inside there you've got where the burner sits. So when I got this boat, it wasn't in working condition. It obviously hadn't been used for a while. The hull, some of the wood had cracked, so it was a case of trying to repair that whilst keeping as much of the original as I could. So the paintwork on the outside of this, apart from the windshield, is still the original paintwork. I had to make a new piece of decking to go in the back, this little wooden section which comes out like so, as that was missing. So I made that up. The other thing I had to remake was the firebox, made of quite thin metal because, as you can imagine, it needs to be made quite lightweight. So when I cleaned it off, it was just full of holes. It was beyond saving. So I used the old firebox as a pattern, and I made up a new one. So I'm quite pleased with that, and it all fits in, all goes together quite nicely. So again today, this will be its first sailing on water. We shall see how it performs. It's quite a flat bottom boat, this one, so designed for very still water. It is rather windy today, so I'm a little bit concerned how choppy the water might be, but we'll see how it goes. If it is a bit choppy, then we might have to come back another day, but we shall see if it actually works, and as long as it doesn't sink, we should be good. Right, so I thought I'd show you the process of getting this up and running. So we take the windshield off, take the burner out, then we unscrew the safety valve and the water level drain plug, pop the funnel in the top of the boiler, then we fill the boiler up with water. Ideally you want to use filtered rainwater for this. So once the water is at the right level, you'll see it will start to drain out of the overflow. It takes a little bit more water than you think. Hey, do that up there. So there we go. So now we're full of water. So next thing I'm doing here is just oiling around the moving parts. So I'm using a special steam oil on the cylinder and piston. So just doing that. So it's a little bit thicker than ordinary oil. And then I've got my can here. This is just sort of ordinary engine oil to lubricate any other moving parts of the engine. Unfortunately, there aren't too many lubrication points on this, so it doesn't take too long. So next up, we'll fill the burner. So this runs on methylated spirits. So again, I'll put the funnel in the burner, just topping it up with methylated spirits, basically until you can't get any more in. But yeah, do be careful when you're using spirits like this. It's very easy to spill it everywhere, and can become a bit of a fire hazard. Anyway, screw the filler plug back on there, light the match, and hopefully we will have ignition. And there we go, we're lit up. And now we just need to wait for the water to heat and pressure to build.
You're away. And
So overall, I'm extremely pleased with how both these boats have performed. I mean, when you consider that they're both over 90 years old, they're still doing the job that they were built for, and of course they were only designed as toys. So it's extremely impressive, really. The water is a little bit choppier out here. It may not look very dramatic, but for a small boat they are quite large waves. I did have a few issues with the Bowman steamboat, especially over the choppier waves. The engine would start priming where the water from the boiler would end up going through into the cylinder. So I think it would certainly work better on a calmer day and also with less wind. It was pretty windy out here and it was blowing the fire about a bit, but even so it still performed incredibly well. I would have liked to have had a bit of a race between the two boats, but trying to control them together was tricky. Again, if the water was a bit less choppy, I think it'd be a lot easier. I have to say a big thank you to Frankie, who was holding the camera a lot of the time for the filming. I couldn't have done it without him, because trying to operate the boats and film at the same time was rather challenging, so thank you, Frankie, for helping out. But yeah, no, overall, I have to say that the Hornby Clockwork boat worked far better than I thought it would. It lasts for quite a while, and it cuts through the water nicely, and it turns well. In fact, it turns better than the steamboat. It has a larger rudder on it, so it actually performed a lot better than I thought. But yeah, I think we'll come back another day. We'll wait for a calmer day and maybe have a little bit of a race. I've also got a yacht that I could bring along as well. That would actually be better on a day like today, where it's a little bit windier, so we can have a look at that. But overall, these are just great boats, and I could see as a young boy back in the 1930s how much fun that these would be. And there were clubs you could join, you could get together with your friends, you could go out and about, and you could race these boats. All these different models that you could purchase, different size boats, different engines. But yeah, no, it's just a great fun hobby, and it's nice to see these boats back on the water again. So I hope you've enjoyed watching today's video. If you have, please do like and subscribe and click the bell for notifications. If you haven't already spotted, we now do vintage motorist mugs and stickers. There is a link for those in my bio, so please do go and check it out. So exciting times. But from Primrose and myself, we'd like to thank you for watching and hope that you'll join us next time. Oh. Right, we're away again. Well done.